All right, let's talk some more Assassin's Creed, specifically the Ezio trilogy. Ezio proved to be one of the most popular protagonists in early Assassin's Creed history. So after Altair, who was sort of not flat, but much more serious, Ezio was sort of started off as like a playboy. He was funny. He was very charming, and he stars in three different games. So basically, we had Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations. And each of these sort of represent a step of that. Ezio's family is targeted by the Templars, and unbeknownst to him, they are assassins. And his family, all the men in his family except for him, are all hung as traitors. He slowly learns what it means to be an assassin, eventually builds up the Italian Brotherhood again. And in Revelations, as he is an older man, he seeks some answers specifically to some lost history of Altair, and he goes to Turkey. So in Assassin's Creed 2, early in his life, Ezio is a playboy. Later on in his life, he reflects on that, and that's the flavor text below. But basically, he was the stereotypical nobleman playboy, wasn't paying attention to anything about responsibility, did not realize what his family was into, and when he avoids getting killed with the rest of them, he eventually discovers his family's legacy and dons the mantle of an assassin, although he doesn't really know exactly what that means until later in his story. Throughout the course of his game, he makes friends and many allies throughout Italy, including Leonardo da Vinci, who builds things for him, and the Thieves Guild of Venice, who, as a gameplay thing, can distract guards for you. You can see Ezio all the way up hanging out on the rooftop over there while the thieves distract the guards. Palazzo Archers is referencing a moment in the game where Ezio actually rides one of Leonardo da Vinci's flying devices in order to get into a heavily fortified palace or palazzo, and these are the guards that are trying to shoot him down, and this is literally the text from that section of the game. Look, I rewatched a lot of videos of this game. I played them a long time ago, but there's a lot of text pulled directly from the games in this. Eventually, he meets up with Mario Auditore, his uncle. Eventually, he meets up with his uncle, Mario Auditore, in his family's ancestral villa. And yes, this is an actual line from the game. It's not like said, it's obviously funny, but it's not like said in a silly way. He's like, "Don't you recognize me, Ezio? It's your uncle. It's me, Mario." The ancestral villa is Monteregioni. I don't remember how to pronounce that. I'm the worst Italian in the world. But you can upgrade this like fortified village over the course of the game. And throughout the game, you spend your time hunting down the Borgias, who you might have heard of from actual Italian history. Rodrigo Borgia is the head of the Italian Templar. He is not shown in this set because there's some problems there, namely that Rodrigo becomes Pope, and you end up fighting him in the Vatican, and that is not depicted in this set at all. Fatal Push references a moment where Ezio has finally caught up with Rodrigo's son and kills him, and he goes like, "No man that can kill me." And so Ezio picks him up and throws him off a roof and says, "Then I leave you in the hands of fate." Throughout all this, whenever you have an assassination, and this is true in most of the games, everything pauses and you have like a final conversation with someone. It's not clear if this is really happening, if this is sort of like a psychic resonance, or if this is just the animus interpreting things. It's not super clear. Well, like it might be the like eagle sense. It might be a sixth sense of the assassins that allows this to happen. But there's always a final moment where you talk it out with the person you just killed about what their motivations were. Ultimately, Ezio says, like, your time is done, rest now. And specifically, requiescat in pace, which means rest in peace. Over the course of the game, you can see Ezio maturing from sort of saying rest in peace as sort of like an action movie liner, like die, you son of a you-know-what. And then later on, he's remorseful. He doesn't want to have to kill these people, but they are clearly evil, or at the very least, severely misguided and hurting people. Rodrigo Borgia becomes Pope in order to acquire the Papal Staff, which is a Staff of Eden. Like the Apple of Eden, it is a artifact from the precursor First Civilization. It's an Isu thing. Ezio acquires the Apple of Eden, and combining the two artifacts once he defeats Rodrigo lets him into a vault under the Vatican. And there he encounters a projection of Minerva. And in fact, after all of that, learns the message isn't even for him, it's for who's ever viewing his memories, which is Desmond Miles, the guy from the first game in the modern day. He has escaped Abstergo with the help of the assassins, specifically recurring characters Sean and Rebecca. Sean is a British historian, Rebecca is the hacker of their little cell. And we learn there's like an impending catastrophe, I believe, that Desmond needs to be the one to solve. So there are 3 Isu who matter this early in the games. There is Minerva, Jupiter, and Juno. Now, these are not the literal gods, but these are the Isu who were basically godlike beings. And Minerva spent a lot of her time viewing every possible future to find one where humanity can survive. She's on humanity's side. She's basically like, well, our time is done, but the humans can survive. They created us as like a servant species, but we eventually broke free of their control. These 3 are actually just scientists of the Isu civilization, although Juno hates humanity and would see us destroyed if she could. Skipping forward to Brotherhood, there's not a lot of plot of Brotherhood on the cards here, but it's basically Ezio rebuilding the Brotherhood. He starts recruiting people throughout Rome to add to his Brotherhood, and there's a fun little Brotherhood maintenance mechanic where you can call these guys down, you can improve your standing with the Brotherhood and like improve the things your initiates can do. So like you can have them assassinate someone for you. It's pretty cool. I should note the Apple of Eden has a lot of technological schematics and things in it. And so through it, Leonardo da Vinci is able to basically make Ezio a pistol several centuries too early and build some neat tech for him. There's also a multiplayer mode attached to this game, which is only partly referenced here. It was one of my favorite multiplayer modes ever because it was sort of this social stealth game that has just never been replicated, where you had to blend in with an army of lookalikes along with everyone else's armies of lookalikes. And if you can like spot the other person, then you might break cover and try and take them out. The Merciless Harlequin here is one of those player characters that you could pick. Diegetically, in universe, it is a Templar training program using Animus data. And then in Revelations, we get old Ezio, who doesn't have his own card. That's where he goes to Constantinople, and he gets something like the Hook Blade, which allows him to do like zipline stuff and climb easier. He meets the Byzantine Brotherhood there in Constantinople, including Yusuf, who is represented on this card. That game introduces like base defense mechanics and stuff, which was a cool idea. I don't know how well it was executed in that particular game. And he ultimately searches for secrets that were hidden in the city of Constantinople by Altair centuries prior. And I believe he finds an Apple of Eden there. And then there's some more Isu stuff where Desmond learns more about this great catastrophe or great calamity that's coming. And Assassin's Creed 3 is about trying to stop that by reaching a place called the Grand Temple, which is in America. And I'll get to that next time because it's already been 8 minutes.